Sorry. So yesterday we are discussing Uttama Bhakti. So we discuss that Nyabilasita Sunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyana Anukulyana Krishnanusilanam Bhakti Ruttam. So it has, this verse was divided in two parts. One is Swarup Lakshan and second is Tatastha Lakshan. Swarupa is also known as primary characteristic and Tatastha is also known as secondary characteristic. So yesterday in detail we discussed about Swarup Lakshan, okay, of pure devotional service. So actually Krishna consciousness we saw Swarup Lakshan Anukulyana. It should Krishna should get pleasure from it, and it has two aspects. It should be done with the intention of pleasing Krishna. Devotee's attitude towards Krishna should be favorable. So means we gave an example, Krishna should get pleased means he got a pleasure from demons like Kamsa and all those things, Sisubal, but their intention was not to please Krishna. Whereas when devotee's attitude is positive, favorable for Krishna, means to pleasing Krishna, still if the Krishna is not pleased, that devotional service is considered as a pure devotional service. Okay, so Mother Yashoda is the example. Then here the Krishna means Krishna, that is three aspects: Krishna and various expansion, Krishna's paraphernalia, and Krishna's pure devotee. So Krishna cannot be separated. Why? That is what the difference between Narayana and Krishna. Four that is four aspect that makes difference to Krishna is what? That Venu Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, Bhakta Madhuri. So we also discussed that we always respect the paraphernalia of Krishna. Even we receive a garland very respectfully, prasad very respectfully. Mridang, Kartal, they are paraphernalia very respectfully. Why? Because they are the Balram. So Sankarshan is the expansion of Balram, and where Krishna sits. So we have to respect him, isn't it? And Krishna's devotee, of course, devotees are pleased, Krishna will be pleased. Then Anusilanam. So sometimes what happens? There is a mismatch between two devotees. What will you do? Two devotees can't out together. So very famous example comes in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 8th canto when Samudra Manthan happens. When demigods and demons were about to churn the ocean, Samudra Manthan, what happened? They need to bring that mountain. That mountain was brought on the back of Garuda with the help of Lord Vishnu. Now for churning, now the mountain is there in the ocean, milk ocean. Now for churning they need rope. And for the rope they were going to use Vasuki. So now Vasuki cannot come in the presence of Garuda, because as soon as Garuda sees snake, he always remembers Mahaprasade Govinde Nam Brahmani Vaishnave Salpa Punyavatam Rajan. So Mahaprasad yaad aa jata hai Garuda ko. So Vasuki doesn't come. So then Lord Krishna told Garuda, now you can leave, your job is done. Okay. Then Vasuki come. Sometime, okay, there may be difference of opinion between the devotees, we should respect that. And other devotees should not take it, because that is our philosophy. If you see Achintya Veda Ved, Achintya means simultaneously one with Krishna and different also. So we'll always different from each other some or different degree. So there will be definitely some mismatch, there will not agree. That is the philosophy, Achintya, Ved and Aved. Okay, simultaneous oneness and difference. So don't worry about that. Okay, but we should be respectful. We should respect the difference. Then there is Anusulanam. So it's a kind of activity. So this should be cultivated by the gradual practice by following the predecessor Acharya. So that is Swarup Lakshan. So now today we are going to discuss about Tatastha Lakshan. So Tatastha Lakshan means marginal characteristic, or you can say secondary characteristic. So foremost, what was the very important? The devotional service means it should be only related to Krishna in favorable manner by following the predecessor Acharya. So now, so still, if you want to come to Krishna with some material desire, that is not denial, but that doesn't come in the category of Uttama Bhakti. So someone is coming with a different desire. Yesterday, I think Ambika Mataji asked me a question regarding that. Yesterday, day before yesterday, I could not remember. But she asked me a question that if you have some desire, so then, yeah, of course, it's not wrong, but it doesn't come in the category of Uttama Bhakti. So this is Tatastha Lakshana can be seen in devotee also. So means they come with some material desire. Sorry, not in Tatastha Lakshana cannot be seen in devotee, but they come with some desire. Anya Abhilasita Shunyam is made for that. Other, so we can have performing bhakti, but we want some money. Just like Dhruv Maharaj, he wanted some money. Okay, then we want that, when we are difficulty, we want something. Okay, that is also different thing. That is for some very short time. So that is different point. But there are some people, they have a desire to get money, beautiful husband or wife, whatever, and they perform bhakti. So that doesn't come in the category, but that's not wrong. You are approaching the right person for getting. You are approaching right person to fulfill your desire. So that way it is not wrong, but it doesn't fall in Uttam category. But here, Anya Abhilasita Sunya means Anya means other, Abhilas means desire for Bhukti, Mukti, and whatever is there. Ita means motive, desire for survival, eating, वगैरह, and Sunya means zero. So Anya Abhilasita Sunya means devoid of all material desire. So that comes in, what is that? Anukulyana Krishna Anusidanam Bhaktir Uttama. Uttama Bhakti means pure devotional service. That is the category of Uttama Bhakti. Okay, so Bhukti Mukti Siddhi, so it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Sakale Asan, Krishna Bhakta Niskam Atayeva San. Bhukti means karmi. They are too much attached with sense gratification. Mukti means there are some people who are desiring impersonal liberation here. Siddhi means they want different siddhi. There are Ashta Siddhi, Prapti, Lagima, Animas, all those things. I could not remember all the names, but Sanskrit name. But someone wants to become smaller than smallest. Someone wants to become bigger than biggest in the material world. They want to know something. They can read the mind of the people. They can fly in the sky. So these are siddhis. So people may have a desire, all these things. Mukti means there are 5 kinds of liberation. So, okay, let's go through. What is wrong with having material desire? So, Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, restlessness. Because you are so much attached. If you remember, when we perform Niskam Karma Yoga, you will attain Jnana. But it doesn't happen when we perform Sakam Karma, fruitive activity. Why? When we are doing activity, of course, to do activity, you need a lot of knowledge. You require so much knowledge. But your attention is not on the knowledge, but on sense enjoyment. So that is the place we are putting our attention, right? On sense enjoyment. So wherever we are focusing, we'll be able to remember, and where we are not focusing, we'll forget. So this is what happened when we are doing some activity with fruitive desire. But as soon as one start performing niskam karma yoga, means when he do so much sakam karma yoga, he realize it's not a cup of tea for doing sense gratification. He cannot do sense gratification. However much he want, he will not be happy. So then, when he become frustrated, what will happen? We saw that yogi, then tyagi. So basically, the sequence is like, bhogi, rogi, and tyagi, or bhogi, rogi, and yogi. That's what you can say. So bhogi, rogi, and tyagi. So पहले भोग करता है, बाद में रोग होता है, तो त्याग आ जाता है. Alternate sense enjoyment and renunciation. So if the person is so much intelligent, then he suffer from so much sense gratification, he immediately understands that all this thing is not meant for my enjoyment, it is for someone else. Then he develop a desire. Okay, I should give some amount of food to some other people. तो लोगों को देना शुरू करते हैं, तो लोगों को खिलाना शुरू करते हैं, हॉस्पिटल खोलते हैं, कॉलेज खोलते हैं. Still some person don't feel happiness. Then there may be something beyond than this thing. So gradually they start getting realization. So then they come to the stage of niskam karma yoga, there where they are attached to one particular activity and offer the result to Krishna. So basically, as soon as he start performing niskam karma yoga, what will happen? Parallel. So this is basically parallel. As yesterday I mentioned that someone is eating food, two things happen simultaneously. Your hunger is going away and you are feeling nourished. So that happens parallelly. So when you do niskam karma yoga, what happened? You are getting detached. You are gradually getting detached from fruitive desire, and you are also developing a knowledge. But when you reach to so much, now you have very less fruitive desire and so much niskam karma yoga, then that stage you reach to jnana yoga. Anyway, we are going, that comes in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so when someone performs jnana yoga, so much jnana, impersonal liberation, and when he get in the realization stage, he is acquiring knowledge, then he come to know about Paramatma. Right? God is sitting within your heart only. Why you are hankering for impersonal liberation? Impersonal Brahma Jyoti. So then he come to that stage of Paramatma realization. So when he reach to mature stage of jnana, he come to the level, he goes more towards Paramatma realization. So he become yogi. So this happened parallelly. One is decreasing, one is increasing. So in niskam karma yoga, the sense gratification is basically gradually decreasing, and giving a result to Krishna is increasing. So when you reach on the extreme level of giving up everything for the service of Krishna, then you reach to the knowledge. So that itself can be considered as a bhakti. Itself can be considered as a bhakti. Niskam karma yoga, but there is a difference. I already mentioned pure devotional service and niskam karma yoga. Anyway, I'm not going to discuss about Bhagavad Gita right now. So this is the series. So when he reached to Paramatma realization, but still he is not able to reciprocate with the Paramatma like normal human dealings. So then from that, when in such a scenario, or maybe if he get the association of some devotee, pure devotee, then he come to know about Bhagwan, that you can directly interact with the Supreme Lord. Then you think beyond this Paramatma realization. And another point, from any stage, maybe Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, or maybe karma kanda. If you get association of pure devotee, you can directly reach to this level of pure devotional service. So you can skip all in between step and you can directly go to pure devotional stage also. Just like Narad Muni, he doesn't have to go through all these things immediately. He covered all the steps basically. So pure devotional service cover everything. Niskam, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, everything. Because Bhagwan realization means all three aspects are there. Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagwan, all three aspects are there. Satchidananda. Brahman realization means Sat factor. Satchid, your Sat. Paramatma realization has two aspects, Sat and Chid. Chid means full of knowledge. Bhagwan has three aspects, Sat, Chid, and Ananda. Okay, so this is how it happened. So basically, when we do some activity, I was on this point, some activity with some fruitive desire, then what will happen? If you don't get the result, then we become restless. And we always lose the patience during that activity. So generally, there are three classes of living entities afflicted with selfish desire. These are bhukti kami, means they want to do sense gratification. Mukti kami, that is also different level of sense gratification, and siddhi kami. So bhukti kami is more gross level. Mukti kami, siddhi kami are subtle level. Okay. Bhukti kami refer to those ordinary person who desire money, everything money can buy, and such a primitive mentality is based on the desire to enjoy money and social prestige. Okay. So hope everyone has a clear about what I spoke on Sakam Karma Yoga, Niskam Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and one realization, pure devotional service. Okay. So now, when living beings become frustrated with this hallucination of sense gratification, like this kam vasana, bhukti kami, mukti kami, siddhi kami, it takes to the path of speculative philosophy. So basically, so same thing, karmi become jnani, speculative philosophy, and analytically tries to track down the source of illusion. So this is okay. Such a person is called mukti kami because he desires to negate material illusion and merge into the impersonal spiritual state. So it's called mukti kami. Okay. Free from anxiety. The mukti kami is also motivated by personal desire, although the desire is somewhere more elevated. Still, the Krishna is not there directly. Okay. So hope this is understood nicely. Then similarly, Siddhi Kami or mystic yogi. So the mystic yogi who desire the spectacular power of mystic yoga, such as making oneself smaller than the smallest, lighter than lightest. They can walk on the water, sit on the water. They can do these things. Okay, so they all are, but therefore it is said Sakali Asan, means they are all driven by the material selfish desire. Therefore they are Sakali Asan. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11 Canto, 2nd chapter, 43rd verse. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's first line is ulta ho gaya hai. Bhukti mukti siddhi sakali asan, Krishna bhakta niskam ataiva asan. It should be like this. Because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, is peaceful. Fruity workers desire material enjoyment, Jnanis desire liberation, and yogis desire material opulence. Therefore, they are all lusty and cannot be peaceful. So, lusty men cannot be, materially lusty men cannot be peaceful at all. They are always hankering something, or he always feel something is lacking. So that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Krishna Bhakta Niskam Ateva Santa Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalya Santa. Krishna Bhakta peaceful and happy. हम कीर्तन में कीर्तन करते हैं, नाचते हैं, गाते हैं, तो क्या करते हैं मंदिर में? Everyone feel enjoyment, right? Just like outsiders, they go to bar, pay money, and अकेले डांस करते हैं, एक दो लोग होते हैं. यहाँ पे कौन, whatever activity they finish at 4 o'clock, we start those activity at 4 o'clock without making any payment. So, and that also voluntarily, no force. Voluntarily people come. पैसा भी पे नहीं करना पड़ता आरती करने के लिए, आज तक तो करना नहीं पड़ा मुझे. So Krishna Bhakta, peaceful and happy. If one has any personal desire, whether it be material, philosophical, or mystic, he will become asanta or ultimately frustrated, and because he will see himself as a central object of satisfaction. So basically, he considers himself as a bhokta. That is the problem. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Yagitapasam Sarvaloke Maheswaram Surudam Sarvabhutanam Gatvam Santi Vichiti. Rather than thinking oneself is a bhokta of all yajna and tapasa, he is the controller. Rather than thinking that person is controller, and if you think Krishna is controller, and Krishna is a well-wisher of everyone, he becomes peaceful. So there is a peace formula. Okay, so this egocentric concept is in itself illusory and therefore ultimately frustrating. If someone is living self-centered life, that is frustrating. So on the other hand, Krishna Bhakta Niskam Ateva Santa. So a devotee of Lord Krishna is Niskam, is no personal desire, and his only desire is to please Krishna. Okay. So basically, this is what Bhogi and Tyagi, two extreme end. We already discussed this thing. One is very extreme, pura bhog karo, and other is very extreme, pura chhod do. Whereas Bhakta has the right understanding that it's not good to become bhogi, and even not to become. It's not good to become fully Tyagi. So they understand that bhoga, but they utilize the things but they have a right understanding for whom it should be utilized. Who is the person who is the right enjoyer? So they have a very clear understanding. So who is the right enjoyer? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, again same verse, he is a bhokta of all yajna and tapasa. Okay, he is the controller of all his world. Okay, so one who knows he is the peaceful. So devotee knows this thing. So devotee doesn't give up anything. He utilizes everything in the service of Krishna. He knows how to utilize mobile in the service of Krishna. He knows how to utilize television in the service of Krishna. He knows how to utilize laptop in the service of Krishna. That's why Srila Rupa Goswami, in upcoming few verses, upcoming few chapters, he will tell that what is that? Forgot. Sorry, it was in my mind. Okay. अनासक्तस्य विषयान् यथारम उपयुञ्जत निर्बन्ध कृष्ण संबंधे युक्तम वैराग्यम उच्यते. अनासक्तस्य विषयान्. So what is the devotee? He is not attached with the sense gratification. Anasaktasya viषयान् यथारम उपयुञ्जत, but he has a right understanding for all the objects, that how they can be utilized in the service of Krishna. Nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe. So he accepts all the objects. He doesn't give up all the objects, but he accept all the objects with the right understanding that they are meant for Krishna. And at the same time, that person is not utilizing those objects for his own sense gratification. So his vairagya is called Yukta Vairagya. Anasaktasya visayan yatharam upyunjata nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam uchyate. Then there is a second verse prapanchaktiya buddhi hari sambandhi vastuna. The one whose intelligence is not good, prapanchaktiya buddhi hari sambandhi vastuna, and he doesn't know how the things can be utilized. Hari sambandhi vastuna muksha ko parityago, how the things can be utilized in the service of Krishna, and he give up those objects. Then that kind of vairagya is known as Phalgu. Phalgum vairagyam kathayate. So that vairagya is known as Phalgu vairagya. You are giving up the objects without having a proper understanding with Krishna. So basically, the devotees are in the middle stage. They know they are not bhogi, they are not tyagi, but they know who is bhogi. Okay, so they are mentally tyagi. They don't use for their own sense gratification. They use the objects for the service of Krishna. So that they are called devotees. So they don't go extreme end. So that's why when Prabhupada's spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he first utilized the car, he was criticized that, oh, he's sannyasi and why he is utilizing the car. So then he answered everything. Having a car, I can drive fast and reach other places, so many places very fast, and I can give more Krishna Katha. So that's the right understanding. So other people could not understand that aspect. So it's their problem. It's not Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's problem. That's why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was known as, before Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the acharyas were known as Parivrajacharya. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was known as Kar Parivrajacharya, and Srila Prabhupada is known as Jet Parivrajacharya. वो फ्लाइट में जाके सबको प्रचार करते थे. Okay. So, people are struggling. There is one very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam of Pavargasya that this is 1 minute. Huh? So there is very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti ritakarna rasayana katha tajjosanad asva apavargya vartamanani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishati. So apavarga is wonderful verse here. Pavarga means, so materialist people, they work so hard. So they are considered, apavarga here. Apavarga means of liberation. So you know what is the pavarga? Pa, 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 ma, ba. If you remember that. So it's very nicely explained. And the what is that pa, pa, pa? Pa means parishram. Okay. Then pa, pa. Pa means fan. When you do lot of parishram, what will come? Foam will come from your mouth. Then, form will come out. Pa, fa, ba. Then ba means bandhan, bind. You will be bind by the modes of material nature or karmic reaction. Pa, fa, ba. Pa, fa, ba, ba. Ba means bhaya, fear. Pa, fa, ba, ba. Ma. Ma means mrityu. So in this material world, people are struggling. They are called pavargasya. Pavargasya means they are coming in this category. So Sanskrit is so nice. Just by saying a pavargasya, they explain everything. What is the condition of materialistic people? So they are doing hard labor, parishram. P for parishram. Okay. Fa for form. When you do lot of parishram, the hand will come out. Form will come out from the mouth. Then when you do so much wrong activity, then you'll bind by the material modes. Okay. then ba, bha, then there is a fear, bhaya, then ma, then there is a mrityu. So they go through this stage: parishram, uh, pain, bandhan, then bhaya and mrityu. So this is what happened to Bhukti. So now the question comes: we want to be bound or be free? Choice is yours. Like there is a love. So love is perverted as soon as living entity come in this material world. So love will be love will be reflected as a lust. So love and what is the difference between love and lust? Like a mango tree on the bank of river. When you see, you can see exact replica of mango tree within the water. And there is a mango on the real tree, and same mango will be reflected in the water, which will be enjoyed nicely. The reflection of the real mango we can enjoy, not the other, right? So same way, what happened that so love is like a real mango tree and lust is the reflection of the love. So people are trying to enjoy the mango tree from the reflection of the tree. Mangoes from the mango tree seen in the reflection. So that's why they are not able to enjoy. So right now, so this is what is the difference between that spiritual world and material world. The material world is the reflection of spiritual world in the water. So whatever is the highest in the spiritual world, which is lowest in the material world. So what is the highest in the spiritual world? Serving Krishna. So in the material world, they consider lowest. Serving God is lowest kind of activity. Service is the lowest kind of activity. Okay. So now since we are in the material world, we have developed the lust, and we have to come out from that lusty desire, that cycle of bad habits of cycle of bad habit. We have to come out from that, and we have to break that chain. That's what so many counselors, in the professional counselors, and people approach with some problem, they will try to break the chain of his thinking pattern, so that that person can come out of this suffering. Okay. So since we are covered by the lust of so many lifetime, we have to harness into positive energy by Krishna consciousness. So we have to gradually come to the Krishna consciousness, practice Krishna consciousness. We have to associate with the devotee. Then we'll come to the mode of goodness. So that is called at the level of sadhana bhakti, harness into positive energy by Krishna. So that is called sadhana bhakti. Then we'll come to mode of goodness. Then we'll develop the love. Then finally we'll develop ruchi, asakti, bhav, and prem. So in the prem state, eternal bliss. But if you don't do that, then lust will be transferred to vrat. What is that verse? 2.66, 62. It's very famous verse. That as soon as you meditate on the sense object, you will develop the attachment. And as soon as krodha bhavati sammoha smriti bhamsat buddhi nasat pranasyati dhyayato visaya pumsa sangastu upjayati. As soon as you meditate on the sense object, what will happen? You will develop the attachment. As soon as you develop attachment, you want to enjoy it. Dhyayato visaya pumsa sangastu upjayati sango sanjayate kama, means you want to enjoy. So that is called lust. Sango sanjayate kaman krodha bhavati. When your lust is not satisfied, then anger will come. Krodha bhavati sammoha. When you become angry, then there will be illusion. Sammoha means illusion. Sammoha smriti vibhramaha. Your memory will be lost. So basically you are in ignorance. There is no knowledge. So as soon as knowledge is lost, what will happen? Buddhi nasat, your intelligence will not work, because for intelligence to work, knowledge is required. On what basis intelligence will verify that you are doing right or wrong? Since your memory is covered, intelligence will stop working, isn't it? So as soon as your intelligence stop working, then pranasati, fall down. So suffering continues. So this is the whole cycle, basically. Okay. So that's why, we should be free from anya abhilasita sunyam. So that's why the anya abhilasita sunyam is very, very important. When we are performing bhakti, we should be free from anya abhilas. Otherwise, we have this choice. We end up either of this, not both of this. किसी एक में dominate करेगा. If you're more toward Krishna consciousness, you'll be pulled out from this material world. But if you are, sometime Bhog and sometime Tyaga, sometime Krishna consciousness, then there is a very chance that he may end up in this lust, wrath, illusion, mode of ignorance and suffering. Of course, bhakti will not be lost, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita 2.14. Neha vikramanaste pratyavayana vidyate. Little bit advancement made on the path of bhakti will never be lost. So, but what will happen? The progress will be stopped. The graph आपका ऐसे जा रहा है. Graph is increasing. So instead of increasing, what will happen? After some time, it will become flat. And after some time, it will increase when your kama is again subdued. So ideally, the graph should be infinite, so that you suddenly, within a fraction of a second, you reach to the level of pure devotional service. But it doesn't happen. That is non-ideal situation, right? It's happened only by krupa of the devotee. So that's why there are 5 kind of devotees: sadhan siddha, okay, nitya siddha, and krupa siddha. So if you get the mercy of some devotee without doing any good activity, you can immediately become pure devotee. So that is like a graph is infinite. Okay. So since we don't end up again in this cycle of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad and Matsar, it's very important that we are, as soon as we accept Krishna consciousness, slowly we give up our Anya Abhilas. So, and gradually we have to become Anya Abhilasita Sunya. So that is one aspect of Tatastha Lakshana. Second aspect is Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So here, Jnana, impersonal philosophy. So of course, when we are performing bhakti, we are also getting a knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Veda. So when it is saying Jnana Karma the Anavritam, Adi means etc. Anavritam means it should be uncovered. It should not be covered with Jnana Avrut, means Avran laga hua hai. समझते हैं ना? Avran. So Anavritam means Anavran, matlab you are uncovering them, you are removing them. So Jnana Karma se wo Anavrut hona chahiye. It should not be covered by Jnana Karmadi. So Jnana means here, for performing bhakti, we also are learning philosophy like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So we cannot reject that knowledge. But here specifically meant for Jnana means Jnana Anavritam means impersonal philosophy, mental speculation. So speculative theories in relation to Veda and God is not accepted. That we should be free from that. Karma means fruitive activity. So like so in that previous one it was very gross level, but here the karma they are talking about the Vedic rituals, Shraddha, and so many things are mentioned. That okay, when you perform some yajna, you can go to heaven. When you please Shivji, you get nice husband or wife or whatever. Nice husband, and someone praise Katyayani, then he will got nice I think they worship Katyayani for getting nice husband and Shiva for getting good wife. I think whatever, I could not remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it should not be for that. Oh, Bhagwan, aaj agarbatti chadata ho, paisa de do. It should not be like that. But that should be done with Vedic process for sense gratification. That should not be there. So that is karma means here. That there are some karma kanda activities mentioned in the Veda. We should be free from that. We should not do that. Okay. ETC means there is a mystic yoga. Some people approach astrology for getting money, artificial detachment without understanding with Krishna, mystic yoga. So it should be uncovered. It should not be covered with all these things. So that is Tatash Lakshana. Okay. So let's say karma. So if one becomes attracted simply to ritualistic activity without understanding Krishna, is activity are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Okay. So you know that story of King Nriga. Story comes in Krishna, sorry, Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. So there were some children's, there are some children, not children, son of Krishna. They one day went for picnic in the forest, and they saw in the well there is a big lizard. You can see that lizard. So they tried to pull out the lizard from the well, but they could not. They could not succeed. So then finally they approached to Lord Krishna and narrated him everything. Oh, what happened? So then finally Krishna personally come, and as soon as he touched the lizard will be transformed to beautiful person, very beautiful person. Okay. So then Lord Krishna asked the King Nruga that, oh, no, Krishna knew everything, but still he wanted to hear from him so that he can give a listen to other people. अगर कृष्णा बोलेंगे तो सुने नहीं, लेकिन उनसे सुन ले तो पता लगे क्या हुआ. So then King Nruga started narrating the story that he was very he was very much attracted by the ritualistic activities mentioned in the Veda. So he did all those things, dan, tapa, yajna, he did so many things. Okay. Then one day he was very charitable person. So one day he gave, in one function he gave almost, I think 1 lakh cows or something. I could not remember how many cows to one Brahmana. So he gave so many cows, and by mistake, from the cows which were donated to one Brahmana, so one cow came back to the Gosala of King Nruga and entered in the cow shed. And suddenly another Brahmana comes, and King Nruga again donate the similar number of cows to that Brahmana. So now this time he donated the same cow which he has earlier donated to one Brahmana, but that cow has written into the cow shed of King Nruga. So he has redonated to other person. So once something is donated, it should not be donated again to some other person. That is wrong. So it is as good as, stealing the property of Brahmana. If you have donated to Brahmana and you take it back, it's like, or steal it knowingly or unknowingly, that is called stealing the property of Brahmana. So then both the Brahmana, that first Brahmana realized that that cow has been donated to some other Brahmana. So both Brahmanas are coming. And second Brahmana said, you have given me the cow which is already donated. So second didn't case it. So first Brahmana came and started asking that cow. So both Brahmana said that, that cow was donated to me. Second Brahmana said that cow was donated to me. So there was a fight between them. So there was some lesson here. You should not consider why Brahmanas are fighting. But both Brahmanas were fighting for that particular cow. So then King Nruga says, don't worry, you give me that cow back, I'll give another 1 lakh cows in replacing to one cow. But both the Brahmana did not agree. You have given this cow, you cannot take it back. Both Brahmanas were fighting. And finally, both the Brahmana left the place being sad. Then what happened? That after some time, when he died, he was taken to Yamraj. So Yamraj told him that you have done so many pious activities, You can enjoy heaven for a lot of time, so long time. But you have made one sinful activity, because of that you have to suffer hell. So Yamraj asked him, what do you want to do first? Then he said, I want to go in hell. Sorry, means he want to suffer first. So for that he was made a lizard. So Lord Krishna gave a lesson to boys that please be careful stealing the properties of Brahmana. You should not do that. He was performing all Vedic rituals nicely, but still he was not. He has to suffer. That is the problem with karma, fruitive activities mentions in the Veda. Same story comes in the 10th canto. I forgot that Dakshinagni. So Dakshinagni was meant for killing Yadu people, Yadu dynasty, Krishna or Yadu dynasty. So while speaking the mantra, that Brahmana made a mistake. That it was said that yajna should not be performed. That yajna should not be performed for killing any Brahmana or Vaishnava, and they perform the similar yajna. And that sent that Dakshinagni to Dwarka, and Dakshinagni could not burn Dwarka. Then Dakshinagni again come and burn the Kasi, whole city of Kasi. And there is another example, I think, that is in relation to Chitraketu and Vritrasur. I could not remember that. Sorry, in relation to what is that? Diti. So Diti wanted one son who can kill Indra, but it was mentioned to her that if you make a mistake, then you will get such a son that they can be favorable for Indra. So that happened. So this is the problem with karma kandi activity. A little bit discrepancy, the result will be reverse, completely different. So that's why it is not recommended. So karmadi also refer to dan, tapa or yagna. From history we can see that people trying to do this thing perfectly have not been able to do successfully. Dan, King Mruga, Tapa, Ravana, Yagya sages at Namisarana performing sacrifice, and black should came out of the sacrificial fire. So they didn't have proper understanding what should be done for Kali Yuga. Okay, so Srila Rupa Goswami has also quoted a definition from Narad Pancharatra as follows about Uttama Bhakti. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam risikesa sevanam bhaktirut uchyate. So one should be free from all material designations. Sarva upadi. So all these designations, president, manager, director, they are designation. Designation means you have to deal with the problems. You have to deal with the problems. कोई ना कोई प्रॉब्लम आएगा, आपको सॉल्व करना है. So that's why they are considered as upadi. So basically we have to free from this all designations. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam. Or what are the other designations? I am American, I am Indian, I am here, whatever. So we have to free from all those designations. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam. Free from all those things. Tat paratvena nirmalam. Then what will happen? And by the Krishna consciousness, must be cleansed of all material contamination. We should be cleansed from all contamination. Tat paratvana nirmalam. How? Rishikena rishikesa sevanam. By performing Krishna consciousness. Then he should be restored to his pure identity, in which he engages his senses in service of the proprietor of the senses. So Rishikena, by the senses, he has to serve Rishikesa. Who is the Rishikesa? Controller of the senses means Krishna. So when you perform devotional service with your senses for the pleasure of the controller of the senses, with being free from all the upadis and heart getting freed from all material desire, all contamination, then that kind of bhakti is called uchyate. That is called bhakti. Okay. So what is bhakti? Means serving Krishna, serving Rishikesh with our Rishikena with our senses, serving control of the senses with our senses, with free from all designation and with a pure heart. That is called bhakti. So anavruta, uncovered by mental speculation or fruitive activity. Karma Krishna, all those things. Gyan karma the anavrita, not covered. It should not be covered by gyan karma. If you mix up karma with bhakti, if you mix up jnana with bhakti, or if you mix up yoga, it is contaminated, it is not pure. It's not jnana, it's gnana. So we have to free from all these things. Jnana, karma, dhyana, vritti. So they are tatastha lakshana. Sorry, this is some font issue. It is tatastha lakshana. So pure devotional service is given by Rupa Goswami. Anya abhilasista sunyam, no desire for fruitive activities or mental speculation or yogi, mystic, yogi, magic. No, simply how to satisfy Krishna. That is bhakti. Anukulina means what is favorable, what Krishna desire. That is first class bhakti. So it should be free from anya abhilas. It should be free from mental speculation and fruitive mentality. Then Anukulina, it's favorable to Krishna, Krishna's devotee and his expansions and his paraphernalia. Anukulina Krishna Shilanam, and by following the footstep of previous Acharya, that is called Uttama Bhakti. Okay. So now the question comes, what about Gajendra? What about Draupadi? Were they pure devotee? So I'll take the class till 8-7. I'll not take question answer today. Okay. So in that threatening situation, a devotee may say, "Oh Lord, please save me. Your devotee now from this danger." Okay, so now so now what about Gajendra and what about Draupadi? Were they pure devotee or not? That is the question, right? You should not have anya abhilas, isn't it? So this is taken from the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this same verse. He says, in that threatening situation, a devotee may say, "Oh Lord, please save me, your devotee, now from this danger," because it is sudden, temporary desire. It is not harmful to his bhakti. It's a temporary. It's very for small. It is for very small amount of time. So it is not harmful to bhakti. That is because this desire arise beyond his control. Now this Gajendra's situation was arise beyond his control. Okay. And opposite of his devotional nature. So although he didn't wanted to do, he wanted to perform devotional service, but suddenly this came up. Okay. So against his devotional nature, so that desire is not his nature. So this is not his regular tendency. It is not his habit to worship Krishna, to ask something. But it suddenly happened with some, although he was performing bhakti and suddenly something happened. What will happen? So suddenly it had happened. So he can ask Krishna that please save me. And then again he will start doing a bhakti without expecting anything. So it is not against the principle of pure devotional service, this kind of thing. Then there is a case of Draupadi. So you can see, so therefore superficial fleeting desire or desire for self-preservation do not exclude one from pure devotional service, and thus pure devotional service can be executed in the stage of sadhana bhakti. Shiv Goswami's commentary. This is. So both our Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Shiv Goswami mentioned that okay, you are performing devotional service and there are some that threatening situation, you can tell Krishna, please protect me. It's not against the principle of pure devotional service. It is temporary. Then again, your focus will be serving Krishna, not to protect your existence. Okay. So, included in the category of devotional service out of consideration for public sentiment, so that the people do not become hostile to the devotee and thus make it harder for the devotee to preach. But if you think that if I do not do some material, So now there are so many people, they do public welfare activity on the name of so that they get goodwill, they don't harm the devotee. For such a scenario it is mentioned. So So a devotee may do something which is not strictly included in the category of devotional service out of consideration for the public sentiment, so that the people do not become hostile to the devotee and thus make it harder for the devotees to preach. But if you think that if I do not do some material pious activity, then I cannot achieve bhakti, or some bad will come to me, that is against the principle of pure devotional service. So sometimes, we should not do all these things. So we discussed this thing, Swarup Lakshan. So Uttama Bhakti, hope it is very clear, that final one. Okay, so this should be free from all this thing. So devotees do that, that may not be against, but when we do it for after, while doing a bhakti, we may do something. I'm sorry, this is some problem with the animation. Okay. So this is what we discussed, Uttama Bhakti, pure devotional service. So in pure devotional service means Anyabhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadhyana Avritam Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhakti Uttama. So we discussed about Swarup Lakshan. So we took second line is considered as a primary characteristic. It should be Anukul, Anukul favorably executed for Krishna, his devotee, his expansion, and his paraphernalia. Anushilam means following predecessor Acharya. Anukulya has two aspects. Which are those two? It should be pleasing to Krishna, and it should be done with intention of pleasing Krishna. Tatrashta Lakshana has two aspects. Anya Abhilasita Sunyam, we should be free from all other material desire, and it should be even free from impartial speculation, karma kanda activity. It should be, and whatever other things, adi means, etc., etc. So Uttama Bhakti, actually Krishna consciousness can be based simply on hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Described in Srimad Bhagavatam are 9 different processes, beside which everything done is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So if you are doing anything beyond Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasim, Sakyamatmani, it is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Thus one should always be guarding against fall down. Thus one should always be guarding against the fall down. So Prabhupada has written this in Introduction of Nectar of Devotion. So most of the things are taken from the introduction, except few quotes. So Prabhupada is writing this in Introduction of Nectar of Devotion. So whatever we are doing beyond this Ravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So that it comes in unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So conclusion, so to achieve success in self-realization or God realization, as we already discussed, self-realization is useless without God realization. So to achieve success, so if you are saying you are self-realized, means you are also God realized. So to achieve success in self-realization or God realization, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Sthana Sthiti. You just remain in your present position. Sthana Sthiti means stay at your present position. You just remain in your present position. You remain as a Grihastha or as a Brahmana or a Sannyasi, as a businessman, professional man. It does not matter. But Srutigatam Tanuvan Manobhi, just try to hear about Krishna. Srutigatam, oral reception. So, at your whatever situation you are, Grihastha, Vanprastha, Sannyasi, Brahmana, businessman, you are doing job, be there. But what you have to do? Srutigatam Tanuvan Manobhi, just try to hear about Krishna. Srutigatam, oral reception. So Srutigatam means the reception, Tanuvan Manobhi. So, and try to employ your body, words, Tanuvan. Tanu means body, Vak means oral, Manobhi means mind. Try to engage your BMW, body, mind, and words in the service of Krishna. Okay. So that is what is said. So this Krishna conscious movement is to give chance to everyone to hear about Krishna. This is the first process, Sravanam. And when one has heard very nicely about Krishna, then he can speak about Krishna, and he must speak. He must speak. Huh? So whatever you are hearing, whatever you are reading, you must speak. You cannot remain without speaking. So that means Prabhupada is telling, preach, go and preach. That is the result of Sravanam. Sravanam Kirtanam. So you have to do Sravan, then Kirtanam. Sravan means you speak, hear, then do Kirtanam. Go and talk about name, fame, glories of Krishna. One who has heard nicely, he must speak or preach. Very simple. So pure devotional, what is pure devotional service? Pure devotional service is pure intention to please Krishna, guided by pure devotees, activity with body, mind, words, not ideal meditation. Use everything in Krishna's seva. K means Krishna's seva, free from jnana and karma. Hope it is very clear now. So activity with, so Anushilana means cultivating activity with body, mind and words, not ideal meditation. Bhakti means activity. So yeah, that's it. So that way we end today's session. Thank you very much. So today we completed introduction of Nectar of Devotion. Don't worry, we'll take almost 5 days in first chapter of Nectar of Devotion. But other chapters will be covered very quickly. So as I mentioned, we'll cover in 30 hours. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I'll not take any question today. Okay, then see you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.